L'Shana Tova. Asking questions is how you learn. Asking questions about the world is how we learn about the world. Asking questions about God is how we learn about life. Rabbi Eddie Feinstein tells a beautiful story about a boy who asks questions about the secrets of God. Once upon a time, there was a boy who asked questions. From the time he was very young, he questioned everybody about everything. His questions never stopped. Every answer only gave birth to a new question. He began asking about small things, and as he grew older, his questions grew bigger. So by the time he was a young man, he sought the biggest answers of all. But there was no one in his small village who could answer those questions. His father told him, "You must go and see the Rebbe. He will help you find your answers." You see, the Rebbe was a great teacher. He knew the answers to the biggest questions. He even knew the secrets of God. So the boy's mother packed him a bag, and with a hug of love, his parents sent him away. The boy arrived in the Rebbe's town and found his way to the Rebbe's school. He listened intensely to the Rebbe's lessons, thrilled at the prospect of finally finding answers. At last, he was shown into the Rebbe. "Great Rebbe, please teach me about God," the boy pleaded. "I want to learn the secrets of God." And the Rebbe stared at the boy's face for some time, and at last he responded, "I will teach you. But tell me, do you have a place to stay?" "A place to stay?" the boy asked. "I don't need a place to stay. I want to master the secrets of God." Yes, of course. But first, go and find a place to stay, and then you'll learn the secrets." So the boy left the Rebbe's presence. He wasn't happy about the delay, but he knew he must obey the Rebbe. And he scoured the whole town. He searched for an inn, a room, a loft, even a spare bed. And he found nothing available. It was a small town. No one had a room to spare. If he wanted to stay in town, he would have to build a place for himself. So he found a good-hearted carpenter who offered to share his skills and lend his tools. And the boy set to work building his home. He didn't know if he could do it since he had never built anything before in his life. But he must try, for only then would the Rebbe share his secrets. It wasn't even easy. Each time he put up a wall, it fell down. And each time he covered the roof, it fell in. But he persisted. And finally the wall stayed up, the roof stayed up, and the windows and doors opened and shut. And the boy realized he had built himself a home. It wasn't big. It wasn't pretty. But it was cozy and warm. And it was his. And he had never thought he could do such a thing. But he had done it. And so he returned to the Rebbe. "Rebbe, I built myself a home. I would never have believed I could do such a thing. But I mastered the skills, and now I have a home. Now, please, teach me the secrets of God." The Rebbe looked at the boy's face for some time. And finally he said, looking at the boy's face, "Of course. Now, of course I'll teach you. But wait a minute. Do you have a job?" "A job?" the boy asked. "No, I came to learn the secrets of God. I have no need for a job." "Oh, go and find a job, and then we'll have plenty of time to learn together." So the boy left the Rebbe, and he knew he must obey his teacher, but if he ever hoped to learn the secrets of God, he looked for a job. The village baker was advertising for an apprentice, and the boy offered himself. He'd never worked so hard in his life, from early in the morning until late at night, until his hands were weary and his back ached and his head hurt. But he learned. He learned how to turn flour and water into fine loaves of bread and sweet, yummy cakes. And he learned the joy of serving his neighbors. And when he had mastered the trade, the village baker made him a partner. And on that day, the boy took a basket of his best breads and cakes, and he brought them to the Rebbe. "Rebbe, you told me to find a place to stay, so I built a home. You then told me to get a job, so I learned to bake. Look, I have brought you the fruits of my labors. Now please share with me the secrets I have waited so long to hear." And the Rebbe looked at him and looked at his face for a very long time, and then he finally asked, "Are you married?" "Married?" asked the boy, with obvious frustration. "Why should I be married? I came to learn the great secrets of God, not to get married." "Of course. But first," the Rebbe said, "go and get married, and then you'll learn the secrets." So the boy was very frustrated, and he was angry. But what was he to do? How could he argue with his Rebbe? In the town, there was a girl he liked, and he suspected she liked him. So he began to spend time with her. They took walks at sunset and picnics in the meadow, and they talked about their dreams, and they fell in love. And in his whole life, he had never known he could love someone as much as he loved her. And he asked her to marry him, and she asked him to marry her. And their wedding was simple but warmed by their love. And she moved into his cozy home, and they shared the fruits of their labors. And so then the boy returned to the Rebbe. "Rebbe, you told me to find a place to live, so I built a home. And then you told me to find a job, so I learned a trade. And then you asked me to get married, and I found a woman. I never knew I could love anyone as much as I love her. And we are married. So now, Rebbe, please teach me the secrets of God." "Do you have children?" the Rebbe asked. Somehow the boy had expected this. He wasn't nearly as frustrated as before. This time he just smiled, and he said, "No, not yet. But if you tell me, I will obey." "Good," said the Rebbe. "Go and have children, and then come back and I will teach you." In his whole life, he had never thought he could love someone as much as he loved his wife. He had never thought he could work so hard as he did as he worked at his trade. And he never thought he would feel as good as he did the day his home was complete. But then the children came, and the boy discovered that he could love even deeper and work even harder and feel even more complete than he ever had felt before in his whole life. And he cared for his family, and he gave them everything he had and everything he made, and yet he felt more happiness than he had ever known in his entire life. And so he returned to the Rebbe. "Rebbe, great Rebbe, when I came to you years ago, I asked you to teach me the secrets of God. You told me to find a place to stay. You told me to find a job. You told me to get married, and then you told me to have children. And now, Rebbe, I am ready. I have done everything you have asked, so please now teach me the secrets of God." And the Rebbe stared into the boy's face for a very long time. "Not yet. You're not ready yet." "But what else do you require?" the boy cried. "What else?" "Soon you will know." And with that, the Rebbe turned back to his books, and soon after, a messenger came from the boy's village with an urgent message. The boy's grandfather was ill. The boy was needed at once. And the boy rushed home, and he found his grandfather weary and sick, and he sat with his grandfather, and they talked, sharing all that life had taught them. And when the grandfather realized that his grandson had grown into a man, learned and wise, he smiled weakly, fell asleep, and peacefully died with his grandson beside him. The boy cried with a sadness that he had never felt before. He loved his grandfather, and he missed him so much. He knew no way to escape his loneliness and pain, so he asked himself how he could ever feel good again, how he could ever find his way back to life. But as the days went by, sweet memories of his grandfather replaced some of his pain, and he found the way back to life, to his family, to his happiness, and to the Rebbe. "Great Rebbe," he declared, "I loved my grandfather so much. I never thought I could say goodbye. I never thought I could ever overcome my sadness and pain. But my grandfather taught me to love life as he did. And so I found a way to remember him and yet feel happy. Am I ready now to share the secrets of God?" Yes, my son. Now you are ready to hear the secrets. And the Rebbe took a deep breath, and he stood and walked to the window, and he stared at the sunset outside. You came here years ago looking for a God outside yourself, far away up in the universe. But the best place to find God is within, in your ability to grow, to learn, to build, to produce, to love, to share, to care, and to overcome life's pains. You need no more secrets. You have only already found the God you came looking for. My son, you already know the secrets. Not until he experienced both life and death would the boy be able to feel the presence of God. We have the secret, but it remains hidden until someone forces it open. In the last 2 weeks, I attended funerals in person and over Zoom for two amazing men, Dr. Edwin Merrow and Rabbi Mel Shapiro. I don't often have the opportunity to just attend a funeral and to be fully in the moment as an observer. Dr. Merrow, the father of one of my closest friends, was a mensch of mensches. He took seriously the concept doing for others and using his skills to heal the world. I knew him as my friend's father, who always spoke so lovingly and caring of her father, of her dad, and how important he was to shaping her life and to being in her life. The loss is keenly felt. The other funeral I attended over Zoom was Rabbi Mel Shapiro, my daughter-in-law Sarah's grandfather. They were incredibly close and had an incredibly special relationship. I had only met him a few times, but he was such a generous and kind man. Within a few minutes of meeting him, you could tell by his smile and his kindness what kind of person he truly was. And as I watched his children on the funeral on the Zoom share words of tribute in his memory, I learned how much he wanted to nurture the world, take care of his family, and provide for them in amazing ways. Like the boy who came to the Rebbe as a young man and grew up to build a house, to build a family, and to create a life, it is not about the state of the world or how much we have in it. It is about the deeds we achieve in our lifetime. As the Midrash teaches us, the day on which a great person dies is better than the day on which he was born, because nobody knows on the day of his birth what his deeds will be, but at the time of one's death, his good deeds are made known to all. We are not here to build edifices to our legacies or to acquire material goods. We are here to do those things in this world which create memories, which will last for succeeding generations. We are here to see the sunrise on a new day in a new world, and to know that the secrets of God are about overcoming adversity and celebrating our successes. In just a few moments, we will share a video montage featuring photos of many of our loved ones. Their physical pictures remind us about what they looked like, and they serve as a catalyst for reminding us that their deeds of their lives shaped them in so many ways, and through their deeds, our lives were shaped as well, because we learned from them, because they are always in our hearts. Just as the lyrics of the music by Shelley Fisher and Kenny Hirsch will remind us. We remember him, remember her. They live in our hearts just the way they were. In these moments, may our loved ones always remind us how to live most fully through our deeds and our actions. Even as we remember their deeds and actions in the land of the living, they are remembered so we can become better people. Rabbi Morris Adler, Alava Shalom, wrote a beautiful blessing many, many years ago called The Gift of Memory. We thank you, O God of life and love, for the resurrecting gift of memory, which endows your children, fashioned in your image, with the godlike sovereign power to give immortality through love. Praised be you, O God, who enables your children to remember. May we always remember our loved ones for blessings and for goodness and for love. May their memories be cherished always, and we say together,